How often do we think about what we do and how we grip things on a day-to-day basis and how that affects how we get ready in the morning or get ready at night for an evening out? Welcome to Adaptive Grace. I'm Julia Vandermoel, and I'm going to be presenting to you some modified makeup brushes to help with the activity of daily living of grooming. Let's begin by thinking about, as occupational therapy practitioners or future professionals, our core mission is to bridge that gap between a physical limitation and our meaningful occupation such as grooming. Today, we'll take on the task of looking at adaptive equipment to restore our sense of self, specifically in the lens of personal grooming and self-care. I mean, what girl doesn't want to put makeup on, right? Let's meet the individual who inspired this journey. So here we have Linda. Linda is a 59-year-old left-hand dominant female who was referred to outpatient occupational therapy following her battle with breast cancer on her left side. While she's officially 1 year post-lumpectomy, radiation, chemotherapy, she recovered and came with a profound roadblock. And that profound roadblock was persistent chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, better known as CIPN. And Linda has regained much of her gross motor functionality, but she's heavily impacted by the constant numbness and clumsiness and sharp-shooting pains within her hands. This severely disrupts her fine motor skills and ultimately her day-to-day activities. What makes this particularly challenging for Linda is that she is outside. This is who Linda is on the outside of her diagnosis. She's a homemaker, she's a community volunteer, she's a grandmother and an avid gardener. And again, who doesn't want to look pretty, right? She has the shooting pains and the lack of feedback to her fingertips are pulling away from her these deeply valued roles and her quality of life and ultimately her occupation, and in this case her occupation for grooming. So, from a clinical standpoint, we take a look at her range of motion, we take a look at her grip strength and her fine motor coordination and her sensation, and her BUE, active range motion, is within functional limits, so she's good there, and her gross strength is at 4 and 5, which is good. Her grip strength, now note again, her left hand is lower than her right hand, and her right hand is at a 36, where her left hand is at a 32. We gave her the 9-hole peg test, and she performed 32 seconds with the right hand and 28 seconds with the left. And from there, we did sensory testing, and this is where it really hits the road, as her fingertips bilaterally and impaired sharp and dull discrimination. And she had the absence of light touch. And Linda remains active as a homemaker, volunteer, and so the sense of touch is important. So imagine trying to manipulate small items when you literally cannot feel them against your skin, and kind of keep that in your mind. For Linda, applying makeup safely and accurately has become almost impossible for her. Adaptive brushes with great ergonomic handles, there's very far and few between. So let's begin and look at what's out there in the market. So 3 tools were found for Linda: the Kohl's Creatives, the Flex Connection, the Flexi Brush, and by Storm. The Kohl's Creative Collection features a highly flexible brush heads. It's excellent to compensate for the lack of wrist mobility. However, it requires a learning curve to figure out how to put the brush shapes onto specific tasks, and it's best suited for individuals with arthritis, related weakness, tremors, individuals with CP or cerebral palsy, and reduced fine motor skills. Now, the Flexi Brush, which we'll get into in greater depth later, focuses heavily on reducing the user's fatigue during long grooming sessions. Though this may not be Linda's case, the ergonomic handles tend to be beneficial, and it helps, so that she's not using her fingertips, but she's gripping it, if you will. And again, it may feel bulky if the user already has adequate hand function. This is ideal for those who whose main barrier is to get a steady grip and build up grip strength. By Storm is the last option that was found. It's a universal grip adapter, and this particular one applies to a user's existing cosmetic products, such as a mascara or lipstick or nail polish. The con here is the minor usability barrier. The user has to manually swap out the grip between products during the routine. Though this may be a small barrier, Linda still has the ability to feel and grip, so that change would not be a problem for her. The Flexi Brush was the best option at this point. So let's take a look. One of the best things about this particular brush is that, one, it's patent pending, and two, it was developed by an occupational therapist. This particular innovative brush is an example of an adaptive device. Instead of forcing Linda to try to remediate or overcome neurological deficit, which may take months to heal, we're just modifying the tool itself, right? So one of the things that it can do, it can help compensate for her profound sensory loss by using alternative feedback, physical feedback, so that she'll be able to grip using the softness of it, incorporate energy conservation principles, and again, most importantly, keep Linda independent in her ADLs and support her value of life and her wanting to get groomed in the morning, so to speak. So we're going to actually have a demo following this, but again, taking a look at the Flexi Brush. This is Lindsay. Lindsay has looked at and uses the Flexi Brush. This is a 2.5 minute video, and Lindsay here has used the accessible and inclusive makeup brushes by Flex Beauty, and she has POTS and dystonia. So dystonia is, for those of you who need more information, is a neurological movement disorder and involuntary muscle contractions that cause slow, repetitive twistings and potential spasms. And so this is a perfect brush. We're going to watch about a minute or so of this video.
Accessible makeup brushes? Yes, please. Let's try them out together and see how accessible they are.
It is narrated
with POTS and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, who loves makeup but has some mobility issues, especially with my hands, tremors, dystonia, and pain. Let's do our makeup using these inclusive, accessible makeup brushes from Flexi Beauty. So let's try them out together. This is the Flexi Beauty brush. I love that it has a handle so that I actually don't drop it. I'm gonna use this eyeshadow head. Actually, I think I might put this on the side for how I'm feeling today. Yeah, this is more comfortable for my wrist, or if I want to do it on the top, I can do whatever I need for that day. It can stand up on its own and it's not going to fall over or roll away. Sensory wise, a nice kind of silicone-y material.
Okay, we're going to move on to our OT rationale for design. Now that we've seen a commercial solution, let's talk about a redesign of a tool for Linda. And I reflect back on two potential frames of reference. The PEOP, we're making adaptations to our environment, in this case the tool, and rehabilitative frame of reference. We have to kind of look at this tool to maximize her independence in meaningful occupations such as grooming and compensate for that sensory loss and dexterity impairment that she has in her left hand. Also, we want to make sure that she doesn't get too fatigued and frustrated with her grooming and putting on her makeup during the day. And finally, being able to get her back to her roles as a gardener, a homemaker, and a caregiver. And again, first and foremost, preserve the safety of her fine motor skills and kitchen and garden tasks. So, to recreate this particular item, we have two solutions. We have a high-cost and a low-cost solution for you today. Materials were found at the dollar store or Dollar Tree, and the cost came to a total of $6.89, and in the picture you see on the right-hand side, the brush is already purchased, so brushes that are already used in the home. We have a self-stick hair rollers, which is to this right here, and then we have the soft rollers. We have the diamond pedicure, where we just use the one piece of the diamond pedicure kit, and we have some colored duct tape and double stick tape, or optionally you can use hot glue gun. So, how to create this particular item. The first step is to gather all the information as mentioned, so lay out Lay out the brush, the foam rollers, and toe separators in a flat surface to plan where you want to support or leverage the extensions needed. Notice again notice that the handle's thickness and the length and where to support or extend where extension is needed. Design the adaptive grip. Okay, to do this, use the foam roller part of it to create a thicker, softer, adjustable grip on the handle. Slide the foam roller over the brush handle where your fingers naturally rest. If the roller hole is too wide, cut a slit lengthwise and wrap it tightly around the handle. Secure with a small piece of tape or with a thin piece of elastic. I thought about using rubber bands, small rubber bands, so that you can still slide and rotate it to adjust the grip position. Okay, to add length and stiffness, slide the firm plastic hair roller over the lower part of the handle to extend the brush leverage, making it easier to control if the handle strength wavers. Remove or swap out the shorter or longer roll when you want a different reach or stiffness. Next, you want to make sure that to repurpose a foam roller toe separator near the top of the handle. It gives Linda that tactile built-in finger rest so that she's always knows exactly how far her fingers are from the bristles without needing to look at them. So you want to reposition the toe separator near the top again, just below the bristles of the brush. Use one of the gaps as a finger rest to keep a consistent distance from the brush head. Experiment with different finger positions in the separator to vary pressure and angle while brushing. And last but not least, you want to test, adjust, and refine. Try the brush in use and fine-tune each component until it feels natural and responsive. Practice brushing with different types of powders and makeup. Slide the plastic roller on and off to see if which length gives you the best control. Shift the toe separators slightly up and down to refine your finger placement, and make small cuts or trim to the foam or separator if needed for a more custom fit to Linda's hands. So here's the design, and again, the equipment you have you have the plastic rollers, the toe grips, the brush already made. These went around the brush, and the duct tape was put on the brush so that these would stick, and then these were placed around the other plastic brushes, and this was glued onto the brush. And here's the finished product. You can see this is a palmer grip, and this is a supinated grip. And you can see here that it slides onto the brush, and grip. You can see the grip of the fingers here and how close it is to the head of the brush. Same here. Here's the actual demonstration. This is a 1:21 demonstration of how to administer the Adaptive Grace brush. I encourage you to watch it. We'll watch a few minutes of it. That's me. Adaptive Grace. This adaptive piece of equipment helps with the activity of daily living of grooming, applying makeup to someone's face. This adaptive piece of equipment allows for multiple different types of brushes to be actually inserted. As you can see here, there's a cushion that allows for a better grip, and I use toe grips to actually keep control of the fingers as you're gripping the actual adaptive equipment. So to begin with, you're going to actually put the equipment into your hand and then put your fingers around and inside the toe grips. Circular your hand and insert the actual brush. You're going to now, within reach, grab your makeup, do a slow circular motion, tap off the excess, and apply to your face in slow motions. Okay. Put the makeup down and remove the brush slowly. Okay, this requires minimal assistance, and sooner or later you'll be able to get it adapted, no pun intended, to the makeup brush. Okay, Adaptive Grace 3D. This is the advanced option. This particular piece of equipment I constructed a 3D adaptive makeup brush set by designing and printing ergonomic brush handles with an enlarged easy grip shape. I used a 3D printer. I used a PLA type of filament. I used Tinkercad to design the actual coating before the actual brush, which you'll see in the next slide. Makeup brush heads, new and repurposed from existing brushes, strong magnets to attach to at the end of each brush, and rubberized grip materials and silicone sleeves for additional comfort and assistance. Here's the brush. Here's the adaptive equipment rendered. Resources. And thank you.